Hey Karen, it's me, it's Dan. How are you? I hope you're well. I'm ready to do your reading. Sorry, the dogs are kind of panting in the background. We just were out in the sun for a little bit and they were getting some of that hot Texas sun, and so they're kind of in here. They should lay down in a minute and it should quiet down, hopefully. If it's too loud, I'll move them into the other room. But I think that they're resting. They're starting to lay down because they've been out in the sun. So the deck that I chose today, I'm gonna go with. You didn't specify decks, and sometimes people like to pick them. But since you didn't specify, I just decided to like choose which one I felt drawn to. I was gonna go with my traditional Rider Waite because I like it because it usually just gives me very straightforward answers. But something was telling me to go with Light Seers for this reading, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to listen to that. I don't know why. I just felt drawn to go get this off the shelf and reopen it back up to use for this. I am going to clarify with a universal weight, which will be those same images that are usually found here, pretty similar. So we still will get like clarifications, and I know enough about my cards to know what the messages are. But I just wanted to let you know what decks were being used. And that I don't know why I felt drawn to this for you today, but that's what we're going with. So I'm just gonna shuffle. You also did not give me a topic, which is fine. I'm gonna just do a general reading and we'll see sort of where things are at. So let's get into this and let me shuffle and see what's going on. Give me one moment. I feel a slight heaviness as I'm shuffling. The cards feel almost like they're a little bit syrupy in a way. Um, it's not like a depression, it just feels like things are maybe taking a little bit of effort at this time. Effort's a funny energy because when we get into it or when we start to really work from that place, it can almost make things harder to get accomplished. So I don't feel like it's a bad time for you because the cards sort of snap together, but they do feel like they need to be forced together a little bit. Like maybe right now there might be a little bit extra of a feeling of extra requirement, responsibility, push that needs to come from you. Whether or not that's the truth is up for interpretation, right? But that might be where how you're approaching things right now is the feeling that I'm getting as I'm shuffling these cards is that it's maybe a little bit of an uphill battle or requiring extra effort on your part at this time. So let's see what's going on in the cards. Can you stop? I will have to kennel you if you are not going to behave. The puppy's out too, so sorry about this. You know what? Let me pick him up. Give me one moment. Because it's just going to be easier. You know, you're too rambunctious, so I'm going to put you up for a minute so I'm sure you rest. And then I get some quiet. All right, guys. You guys can lay out here on the cool tile and shut the door. All right, now it's just us. Can't deal with. I spend all day paying attention to them. I need a minute. They are like my children. So, as I was saying, though, I feel like whether or not that's true, we will look at as we look at the cards, okay? And I hope that that makes sense to you, that you can relate to that. It doesn't, like, I will reiterate this, it doesn't feel bad. It just feels like there's maybe extra energy required in certain areas. Okay, so this is your center, where you're kind of centered at. It gives me a little bit of an indication as to not only where you're operating from and what you're kind of focused on or how you're being, but it can also give me indication as to sort of what could be coming for you in the future, because what we have going on in our now, whether we're conscious of it or not, we can potentially be creating for our future. So this is the Three of Wands. This is not a bad card. This is actually all about expectation, looking to the future. Ideally, the Wands is about the spirit, desire, taking action. I would say this is the least actionable Wands card probably of the deck. The 2 and the 3 are usually about kind of formulating the plan, contemplating the plan, and then sort of waiting for that plan to come in, right? But we're doing it at a spiritual level. So what I do like about this is when I see 3s, and especially this being in your center, to me, 3s bring me to that place of the mind, body, spirit connection. Yes, the spirit is somewhat leading here, or the focus might be on the spirit, or the desire might be more present or prevalent because this is the Wands card. But I like that she is trained and looking to what I consider to be the future of a reading. Anytime they're facing towards this direction, that's to me looking to the future, setting the plans in motion, maybe not necessarily taking action. Some of that sluggishness or that syrupiness that I was feeling in the shuffle may be due to now might not be the right time kind of stuff, or certain things might need to be in a certain place before you can move forward. But that doesn't necessarily mean that there's not a lot of hope, optimism, opportunity, ideas going on right now, because this would indicate that. There could even be change or travel. Sometimes the Wands, excuse me, Wands can sometimes indicate that too, because it's a fire element. Energy is so kind of fast moving and all consuming. It can be about quick, swift moves, right? Especially like, say, like the 8 of Wands. This being the 3 though, the 3 is almost like looking at things, formulating them, bringing them into alignment in expectation of its arrival. So something is going on here that I feel like feels very hopeful to me. So I hope that's the case with you. I can't really talk to you directly when I do this reading in this format. You'll have to respond back and let me know. But it does feel like we're maybe lining up our ducks in a way to get prepared for the arrival of something, or the creation or the movement towards something, whatever that may be for you. So let's go to the foundation card, which is below this. This is from the past. It gives me indication as to what was going on in the past that opened the door for everything to be the way that it is. It also can kind of tell me sort of, it's the reminder. Sometimes this card can represent a reminder, alerting us to sort of what is the memory or the event that might be holding everything in place, or sometimes even driving it into the future because it's built upon this. So we have the 4 of Wands. So lots of fire energy, first off. The 4 of Wands, to me, is about divine connection, right? And when we see this 3 of Wands here in the center, this says to me, and I know a little bit about obviously your history. We've done readings before, and I know that like you were in a relationship and that might have been the one. What I like about this is that, or you may have felt at one point in time that you were very keyed in, connected, and it was all very good. When I look at this, that is sort of that feeling. What I like about this as being your driver card is not only are 4s what I consider sort of stable, like they're about like stability to me, you know, because I always say 4 legs on a table. You know, they balance, or balance isn't the right word. They're more about stability. And when I see this in your foundation space, I think of stability and foundation as very similar, right? Energies. So when I see this here, I like that this is the driving force, even though it's maybe from a time that was more optimistic, more happy in your past. Things maybe felt more spiritually fulfilling. You haven't given up hope though with this 3 here in the center, and I like that. And that's also why I like that this is sort of the factor underneath everything, like from the background. It may be in the past, it might even seem as though it's something that was lost, but it's like the desire is still there. Sort of, it's almost like now as I'm talking about this, I'm getting a visualization of like a pilot light, and I think it's because of the Wands cards, but you know, that pilot light that burns in, like, say, a water heater. It heats and boils the water, and then that water gets distributed out. I'm sorry, I'm having an allergic reaction, I think, from being outside. And that water gets distributed out throughout the house, right? And so as I'm looking at this, it's like, it's this desire for that sort of soulmate spiritual connection that you maybe felt as though you had at one point in time. And you're still seeking it. It's still driving you. You still haven't given up on it. You still haven't even if this connection is just that fulfillment within yourself, to me, I feel like there's still hope here. And there's a lot of hope, actually, and a lot of push to go towards that. So let's see what the spirit card is. This will be up above you. This is kind of where your spirit or soul is at, and what it's wanting, your higher self is wanting you to look at or focus on at this time. So we have the Lovers. And this is, like I just got done saying, you know, there's this sort of, we thought we maybe had it in the past, or it felt very connected, it felt very good. It may not be there in that state at the present. We see this singular woman here, but she's looking to the future. She's desiring something more. The Lovers card is associated with the sign of Gemini, which is the twins, right? But also, not only is it sort of like that quintessential Romeo and Juliet romantic card, but it also can sometimes represent like big choices. And to me, I feel like there is this kind of cosmic thing that could be going on here. There's definitely a focus on being connected to another, like a partner in some way, shape, or form. I don't feel as though maybe you are connected to them now, but maybe the manifestation or the creation of the manifestation of this connection is what is driving you at this time. There could be something in the way. As I'm saying that, I'm looking at her looking to the horizon, and I'm wondering if there's like a distance between maybe somebody and you that is needs to be overcome, right? And that might be the reason why you can't move forward at this time, or you can't make it happen. It's not to say that it won't happen. I also think that the Lovers card in this space, in being this spirit space or your higher self space, if this sort of these cards are giving me very much a romantic vibe. If there's not a romantic vibe going on for you, if this is not something that is like you're like, no, that's not where I'm at right now, I would definitely see this as a indication from your higher self about it could represent as falling in love with one's own life, or what you're doing, the things that you're involved in and engaged in, that you should really pursue. There's like some serious high vibrational energy in these three cards, if that makes sense, right? We've got the fiery like swiftness and desire and action and crackliness of these Wands cards down here, and we've got the Lovers, which is air, Gemini, almost feeding it, right? And so these are all very complementary to one another. They're also very much sort of geared towards deep connected relationships, whether that relationship is only within yourself at this time, or you're seeking that with another partner, and looking at it from this place of what you maybe have had in the past. And I would say the past, because this is the Four of Wands, it was something, even though it maybe didn't work out right in the way that we thought that it would, it doesn't necessarily not mean that you guys weren't connected, right? That there wasn't some sort of lesson there, and when it was good, it was indeed really good. So this being the foundation, it says to me like, okay, or what I feel like these cards are saying to me right now is Karen saying, okay, how can I create this again? And your spirit is saying, yeah, you can, but we, like, it needs to be bigger, realer, deeper, it's got all of the qualities for that to be available to it. So how do we make that happen? Let's look at the outside influences and see what's going on there. These can be people, events, things more vague like belief systems or energies that could be affecting us right now during this time. So we have the Eight of Cups. This is definitely kind of not even kind of, I should say this is your breakup. I think that we've discussed in the past, this is about making, decisions that aren't necessarily emotionally easy, but they are the right and appropriate thing to do, even if they are painful. This is about walking away from a situation that's no longer serving you. I don't feel this card does not necessarily represent the past, though. So, and I know that your breakup has maybe been a little bit, you're beyond that or past that, but I still feel like there might be departures happening for you coming up. Part of the reason why I feel that is we've got her back to us too, right? And she's also looking to the horizon. And like I said, with this Wands energy, there could be potentials for moves. That movement can be an emotional movement where we are maybe shutting doors on things that are no longer emotionally fulfilling for us, right? Even if it's not maybe your ex, it could be something else, but it's not necessarily the easiest. The Eight of Cups isn't the easiest thing to do, but it's always kind of like the most adult thing to do, the most responsible thing to do, not only responsible to the situation or whatever you might be departing from, but responsible to yourself, right? It's about like sort of self-preservation in a very like mature way. So this is not a bad card, but it's not necessarily an easy card in the sense that it maybe has taken some time, some toil to get to this point. But now it's like, okay, now let's start shutting some of these doors, stepping away, moving towards something new. So this is an outside influence that could be coming in at this time. So pay attention to those things. And if things are, this could be some of that heaviness that I was feeling in the deck when I was shuffling, where it feels like it requires a little bit extra work, push, effort, whatever, to sort of rearrange the space to be in more expectation for this bigger plan that I feel like somewhere inside of you exists, right? So let's look at the other outside influence. This is the Ten of Cups, okay? This is about abundance of emotions. This is about wishes and dreams being fulfilled. This is about being able to honor oneself and your loved ones and connect with them emotionally. This is basically like a bliss card, right? And so this being the outside influence, we have this thing of like, okay, we maybe have had to close chapters or doors and do the work that's required with saying those goodbyes or no longer engaging in whatever those behaviors may be or those scenarios may be. But we also open the door, I think, for this bliss to come in. And I think that it's interesting too that this card is not sitting over here, it's sitting over here where she is facing, right? So this card doesn't necessarily usually have a timeline to me, but I kind of feel like this could be coming, maybe you might be seeing glimpses of this card. I get a feeling that you're seeing small glimpses of this card now, but as you move more towards the future and you go through whatever is going on in these departures, you're moving more towards this. You're building through, it's almost like walking through these Eight of Cups, right? Through these situations that are the Eight of Cups situations, they're leading you towards the joy that's beyond them in the Ten of Cups, okay? So before I go for the outcome card, I'm just going to shuffle for clarifiers really quick. Maybe get more clarification on this. So the Three of Wands. I really feel like as I'm looking at these cards down here, there's a lot of opportunity here. There's a lot of hope in these cards. A lot of warmth. I mean, even the warmth, like the Lovers, although it's a Lovers card, the redness of this Lovers card coupled with like the purples and the red hues and the fire of the flames, to me, in the Wands card, speak to this sort of warmth and almost like this energy to this. Like it won't be denied kind of thing. So let's see what's going on here. For the Three of Wands, we have the Two of Wands, which is the step right prior to this, which is the planning of where it is we want to be, what it is we truly desire, getting clear on that. And then the Three of Wands, there's this great analogy. The Two of Wands is ordering it on Amazon. The Three of Wands is waiting for it to arrive, right? And so to me, that this is maybe previous to this moment of expectation, or yes, we might be in a little bit of a holding pattern as we wait for the timing to be right, but we've done the planning and we've sat with ourselves and certainly had the discussion, had the thoughts, looked at our options and checked in with our desires. And now we're in this next phase of expectation. We have the King of Cups. Why are they freaking out? And that was from my cough. We have the King of Cups. He would be all about emotional love, sensitivity, connection. He would be about being a great provider, um, seeking out that love. Let me just see the next card. And this is the Hanged Man. So this is water energy, right? And Hanged Man is Pisces. There is something that is not right in the timing right now. There's something that's sort of maybe holding things back. The plans are in place, or the ideas are here. The goal is clear. I feel like with the Three of Wands, the Two of Wands, and the King of Cups even, I feel like it is about emotional well-being, feeling sort of provided for in a way. I don't necessarily know that you require somebody else, right? But because this king to me, he feels very much okay in who he is or in his own skin, and I feel like you very well might be this King of Cups. But I feel like this Hanged Man is there's always this sort of realization that needs to take place with the Hangman before he can kind of free himself. It's like a spiritual aha moment. And so there's something going on here. It's not, and to me with this King of Cups right in front of it, it doesn't feel like it's, like, I don't want to leave you with, how do I want to say this? The King of Cups feels very self-sufficient to me. He feels very aware, and he's keen for love, right? But he's not dependent upon it. Does that make sense? But it speaks to him. How do I want to say this? Like, I don't want you to look at this Hanged Man as if it is a hang up or something you need to discover, although that is what the card means, right? But to me, I feel like this will naturally come in due time. The King of Cups doesn't necessarily need it, but I feel like, or maybe this is something that you've already realized that has led you to this status as the King of Cups, which has brought you to this place where you could then sort of start to contemplate, okay, where do I want to be? Because now I finally feel like I'm emotionally okay or clear or connected. Does that make sense in that way? That now I want to decide, okay, where do I want to be and where do I want this to go? Through the Two of Wands, you make those decisions amongst yourself, within yourself, and you're able to now start to begin to expect the doors to open, right? That will lead you to whatever it is you seek. This actually, now that I'm saying this in this sort of timeline, this could be the previous relationship, right? The realization that it's time to now be free of maybe feeling stuck in that. Let's go to the Four of Wands. So for the Four of Wands, and this is in the past, we have the King of Pentacles. We have the Three of Cups. We have the Wheel of Fortune. So all of these make me feel like whatever was going on in the past, with these three cards underneath this Four of Wands, it really was connected, right, and blissful. It felt aligned. It felt like home. And I think that when I look at these cards here, because the King of Pentacles would be the master manifester, right? He would be the ultimate provider. And there was a period of time where I think that because this is all resting on underneath or on this Four of Wands, it makes me feel like there was probably a period of time where you thought, this is it. This is like the everlasting thing. What I think that this is now, or what I think that this is trying to tell me, is that I like that you haven't given up on this. And I'm not talking about the previous relationship, but I'm saying that having had a taste of this, it makes you understand that it is indeed still out there for you. And so I feel like you haven't lost sight of that in some way, or if you have lost sight of that, it's time to kind of reconnect to that. Not, and what I mean by that is it reconnect into the realization and ground into the realization that I've had it once, it can be created again, I can find it again with another person, right? If and it's not that you require another person, but if it's like companionship and love and that connectedness that you seek, if there's something from that previous relationship that you miss, it's not about, I feel like this is not about like that partner. This is about more about that sort of connection and how that connection felt is what I feel like this run of cards is telling me. Like this Wheel of Fortune to me feels like all is right. At one point in time in this relationship, all was really right in the universe. And we knew that like almost, I want to say like at every sort of level of our being. And so, and it's interesting too that we have a king and a major arcana and a major arcana. So I'm just looking at like different patterns, but it's like, how do we get back here? Not like in this same identical situation, but get back to sort of that feeling of that connection or that. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So let's go into the Lover's card and see what's going on there. We have the Queen of Pentacles. Here's her King. So there is. That's kind of an interesting. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not the Queen. It's the Nine of Pentacles. But it is a feminine, independent Pentacles lady kind of showing up on top of where the king is. I think that's sort of a very interesting combination. I immediately saw that as the Queen of Pentacles. This is the Nine of Pentacles. She's about independence, but she is also, I'm going to take her as if she is like the Queen. I feel like she's partnered with this guy down here only because of that Lovers. Let me look at the other two cards. We have the Nine of Wands. So we have two nines going on up here, and we have the Page of Wands. I feel like this is about spiritual learning because we have so much wands up here. The Nine of Wands can be about the ending of chapters and also the awareness of sort of what we've been through, assimilating that information. There's a man that's sort of wounded. He's sort of maybe building a fence around him or a boundary around him. He's learned his lessons or is ready to sort of move on. The Page of Wands would also be about that, becoming aware of things, and deciding to move on into this state of maybe independence. But I think that all of this is in this sort of effort to get you to this place of, and again, like I said, this could be about not finding the Lover's aspect with someone else, but within yourself, which is sort of what I see this King of Cups as kind of representing. Is that even, and we see that also again reflected in the independence of the Nine of Pentacles, is that worst case scenario, we have an opportunity here to fall in love with ourselves, our world, our life, and everything that's going on within it. But I also think best case scenario is that when we have this down in the sort of basement, kind of in our subconscious, just maybe reminding us of what we have had and can maybe manifest or create again. It's powerful stuff, right? So let's look at this Eight of Cups. The interesting thing too is I don't see a specific person yet outside of you as I'm looking at these cards, right? Like I don't even feel like this King of Pentacles is your partner. It just feels like everything was well provided for, everything was connected, grounded, earthy, just felt like more than sufficient. So let's look at this Eight of Cups. We've got the Four of Cups, would be indecision or even sometimes boredom, not necessarily being able to make this decision or not maybe being ready to for a period of time. We have the Knight of Pentacles, which would be slow-moving energy, maybe slow to move forward because he's positioned facing this way. So, and this would be maybe a little bit more stuff that we've dealt with prior to where we're at now with this Eight of Cups. And then we have that Three of Wands, which we see here as your center. So I really want to say this. I feel like somewhere, even in the way past, this was building for you where you're at now. Like, I almost want to say that because we see this Three of Wands mirrored again, that there was an opportunity somewhere in the environment or the energy around you, what was being given to you, that was telling you, I need something different. It's time to move forward. I need to go elsewhere. If you weren't maybe as able to move quickly, that would be the Knight of Pentacles, or maybe it was hard for you to make that decision emotionally, or there might have been emotions that were keeping you there for whatever reason, right? But at this point in time, I feel like we've done all of that work, and it's really time to sort of let go and begin to move on. And we're definitely aware of that. But it's funny, I almost feel like these two cards tell me that we've been working on this a lot longer than we even realize, maybe. Let's look at this. Ten of Cups. Like, I get this feeling that Three of Wands might have been a blip on your radar. Like, maybe even pre-breakup. Like, before... We have the Lovers on the Ten of Cups. We have the Eight of Pentacles, which would be about sort of... it's considered the apprenticeship card, right? But to me, when I'm looking at this with the Ten of Cups here and the Lovers, it's like being willing to put in the work, attending to the small details, staying grounded and stable, really kind of working out whatever relationship it is whatever relationships you do have in your life, whether they're romantic or otherwise. The Ten of Cups would indicate like the fulfillment of that. The Lovers would indicate, sort of the beauty and the love that's involved in that and the magnitude of them. It would also indicate the choices that one has to make to sort of do that, but putting in the work and the attention. And then we have the World, which is sort of, it can represent, it's the end of the Fool's journey, but it also represents new beginnings. And when I look at this sitting on this Ten of Cups, to me, it's the endings of some chapters and the new beginnings of others, right? That's this Ten of Cups. And being willing to show up and do that work, or the environment, the universe, whatever you want to call it, may be asking you to, okay, we need your attention here. We need this. This is not a bad card. This is just about doing the work that's involved to create the beauty that is here. Now, whether this is you having to do the work or the work being done by, say, the environment, whatever, I would say this card is saying, okay, Karen, pay attention to when the opportunities come, because they will come, right? We have the Lovers, we have the World, and we have the Ten of Cups. They will come. They should come in rather, how do I want to say this? With the World and the Lovers here, they should come in rather significant ways, right? We're not, ideally we don't want to miss them, right? But it's like maybe our job to pay attention and keep putting sort of one foot in front of the other to make sure that we're, not to make sure that we're in the right place at the right time, but to keep ourselves open and in this expectation state so that we can receive them. It's kind of the feeling that I'm getting. So I'm going to do a shuffle for the outcome really quick and then clarify the outcome. And the outcome is not set in stone, as I always say. This is just an indicator as to where things are naturally heading, barring that nothing major changes. So the beauty of this card is that, it's not set in stone. If it's not something we want, we can use it as a warning to make choices and changes in our life so that we can affect this outcome and receive different results. But if it's something we do like and that we do want, we're naturally heading towards it. Oops, what card is that? Oh, sorry, I lost control there. It's the Ten of Wands, but I'm not taking that. That's not interesting now. Let's see here. Now, let's see what this is. We've got the Eight of Wands. Okay, So we had that 10 of Wands pop out, and I was like, I was about to just say, if that 10 of Wands shows up right now, I'm gonna freak. And then we get the 8 of Wands, which is interesting because the minute I put that 10 of Wands back, my hit was because that picture of is a woman with an ox, like sort of departing, and I feel like there's a little bit of the 8 of Cups energy in that, and we've already seen that, but. It did make me feel like there's this sort of possible travel thing going on because I've sensed that with this 3 of Wands. The Eight of Wands can indicate travel. It's also messages coming in very swiftly. It can be fast moving energy, and it can also be messages of love or devotion coming in, right? Whether or not that's you declaring that love for someone else or someone declaring that love for you, this would be sort of the movement towards that, either the declaration or post declaration, going, okay, let's take action, let's move on this, let's make this happen. That move, and what I mean by move is like movement, like moving towards it. Doesn't necessarily mean you're like picking a house, but it could mean travel to a significant person, which is kind of the vibe that I've been getting since the very beginning of this. But I'm not sure what's going on in your life right now or who you're dealing with. So let's just look for clarification on this 8 of Wands. We've got the Ace of Cups. We've got the Strength card, which would be Leo energy. And we've got the 6 of Cups. So this is beautiful as an outcome, as far as I'm concerned. Leo is very much an opulent, loving, generous sign, right? And Strength is a beautiful card to have, right? In this sort of layout with these cards all around it. The Ace of Cups to me would indicate that overwhelming, sort of overflowing abundance of emotional connectivity. It can be new love. It can be just love in general, especially sitting on that 8 of Wands. The 6 of Cups is family, nostalgia, warm feelings, balance, all of that sort of stuff. So as we're heading into the future, or what this outcome looks like to me, is whatever it is that you are in expectation of, at some point in time, I do feel like you will begin to move towards it. Clarity will come out around it. That would be the 8 of Wands to me. In taking that action or making that sort of movement, we open up the door for this Ace of Cups. We see also this benefit coming through in the 10 of Cups from the outside influences. Like, I do feel like there is an opportunity here where the universe or the environment wants to bring you together with somebody. I don't necessarily know that you require it, but I know that I feel like it's important to you, certainly with this going on up here and having had something like that in the past. But this King of Cups to me speaks to this idea of being extremely, like, yeah, and this 9 of Pentacles. I feel like you are self-sufficient. There's not like a neediness or a requirement for this. There's like just sort of the pure joy and bliss of having that connection. And so I do feel like there is an opportunity coming to move towards that. We may, and it's interesting too, we have the 8 of Cups and the 8 of Wands. We may need to close some of those doors or tie up some of those loose ends, emotional loose ends, whatever it is that like is still sort of hanging in the breeze, that is now time over the next, I don't know how long, maybe the next few months or whatever. If there's things that need addressing, address them for yourself, obviously, and wrap them up, because I do feel like opportunity is coming in. And there is, I feel like this is not limited to just right now. It's like it's almost as if the feeling that I get when I look at these cards is the more that we take care of over on this side, the more we create space for what's on this side to come in. And as we begin to do that, that sets off the opportunity for us to maybe make these moves towards some new connection, because the newness would be in the ace. It should be a very strong connection. I also love that there's like this woman and the lion here, so I like that too, in the sense that they're sort of kind of in a symbiotic relationship and they care for one another and take care of each other. And then we have this sort of family nostalgia card, which says to me that this could very much be feeling familiar, like home, that sort of a thing. It's very interesting. Because this is such a sort of love-based reading, I want to add one more card just to see what comes out. These are from the Power of Love. I just want to see something to focus on during the next 3 months. Where's the focus? On acceptance. You are ready to release control of situations or people and lovingly embrace the rhythm of life. So I'm just going to let you read that. I love that this is on this green color, which is very much the heart chakra. But I'm not making this up. It says you are ready to release control of situations or people. And that's this 8 of Cups energy here in your outside influence. And then it says, and lovingly embrace the rhythm of life. And we have this 10 of Cups over here, which, I mean, if you look at that, there's definitely a rhythm and love and all of that in there. So this is what I was saying, where I feel like as we close the doors on this, we begin to open the doors for more of this. We begin to move ourselves naturally towards this. If there's any sort of restraint, we see that maybe potentially in the Hanged Man, where we're feeling stuck or we can't move. We also see that a little bit in the Knight of Pentacles. And some of these things could be on timelines that have already passed, or we might just go in and out of them even. But ultimately, what I like about this center is that I love this King of Cups. Like, he keeps pulling my attention in the sense that the romantic aspect of you, or the part of you that he feels extremely self-sufficient in the center here. There's not like a requirement for this, if that makes sense. There's a desire, but it's like, we're not doing this. It's not like it's a needy kind of thing, if that makes any sense at all. So in that, we may have to sit tight for a moment. That is not only the sort of expectation that we see in the 3 of Wands, but also in the Hanged Man. If we're finding that our plans can't move ahead due to outside influences, that's okay. Utilize this time wisely to sort of shut the door. Be in acceptance of that. Utilize the time to sort of shut the doors, tie up loose ends, like I said here, and begin to sort of turn your face towards the sun, no pun intended. I was thinking, no pun intended, because Leo is associated with the sun also. We have the Strength card up here. And turn your face towards the sun and begin to prepare yourself for moving towards something new, because it is definitely out there for you, Karen. Definitely. I hope that makes sense. I hope that brings some clarity. Send me an email and let me know. I'll just hit, or not an email, but like a message, and just let me know if this makes sense. I'm excited for you. I really am. This is a beautiful reading. I feel like it really kind of speaks to the idea that there's a lot of opportunity coming up. If it's not here already, it's definitely in process of happening. And so just hold tight and let it unfold. All right, thank you so much, and I will look forward to seeing you soon or talking to you soon. And all right, take care. Bye-bye.